So here are some examples of formative and summative qualities. So let's talk about the formative and summative qualities of each of these. Entrance and exit tickets. Those have become, I would say exit tickets for a while became the hottest topic in education. Everybody was giving exit tickets, which is a really good practice. The only thing about exit tickets is that it requires teachers to have to analyze data from the end of the class that day to when students walk in the next day, so they can use that data in a differentiated way. That definitely could fall into the category of formative assessment, but we are encouraging districts to think about adding in the practice of entrance tickets. So when students walk in the room, let's collect data from those students about their learning, and then let's respond to that data in the moment with students in a process with the person who is best able to address any learning issues that students have or places where students are getting stuck. So entrance tickets really takes you all the way to the end of the spectrum of being formative. So it's formative in that we're checking for students' understanding and then responding right there in the day or the next day based on the data we gathered the day before. So it really is, it's slightly summative in that you are measuring mastery of a particular concept. It's just that it's not something that we grade, and it's something that we hope to keep moving from into better and better learning for students through the formative process. So end of unit tests, an example might be a Friday spelling test is an example of another moving down the spectrum, a little bit more summative, but also with formative qualities. So you're seeing summative appear first here. So it's a measure of the mastery of small chunks of content and assigned grades. So we're just calling this sort of ends of, some people call it ends of units of learning or something like that, but end of unit test. And then they should also be formative in that it's showing students what they've mastered and how they might want to refine the way in which they're learning, as well as refining for teachers the way in which they're teaching. So it's really important that we think of formative qualities as applying to teachers as well as students. I'm sorry, students as well as teachers, but both should be thinking about data in a formative way. Interim assessments, those periodic 2 to 3 times per year assessments. Now we're getting closer to a more summative assessment because it's measuring a larger chunk of learning. So that means that it's more difficult to use that in a formative way because there's so much contained within a whole fall or winter or spring assessment. But it should be formative. There should be reteaching that is guided after that. It's just a little less differentiated reteaching because you have a bigger chunk of data. And so for a teacher to go back and look at that data and decide on reteaching makes very good sense. But it also should really be formative at a leadership level and in terms of providing PV for teachers based on trends that people at the district level are analyzing and seeing across grade levels or across content areas. So because it's a little bit bigger, it's harder to turn a barge than it is a tugboat. And by the time we've gone through a whole period of learning, we have a little bit of a barge. Absolutely serves its purpose in the school district, though. You need to have those across district dipstick tests of the standards health so that you at the district or leadership level or even at a PLC level can really decide what we need to do next to address some bigger issues. And sometimes it's formative in that it's used the following year. That data is used the following year to help guide the creation of units of study based on weaknesses that they saw the year before. And then all the way at the end of the spectrum is really completely summative. And when we say that, it still has some formative qualities, but those state assessments at a district level aren't particularly formative and don't have a lot of formative qualities to them. They really are meant to measure the mastery of the content and to make evaluations and determinations about students, about teachers, about sites, and about district level. So I think far too many districts focus on that state assessment to build the year of learning out, when really it's all of the other assessments previous that help determine where you're going to land at the end of that state assessment. Now, there are some formative qualities to a state assessment in that it can inform high-level, strand-level data about curriculum pacing and PD decisions.